Yes, now Familamo, welcome back to another video on Jazza TV. Today we're going to talk about the second video in the series of boxing venues. This venue, it's become quite special to me. I've had some good nights in this venue, and I don't think I've ever lost in this venue. This venue is York Hall, Bethnal Green. So York Hall to me, I always knew it was the iconic arena venue. Hall. I always knew it was quite iconic. And the first time I ever fought in there was the semi-finals of it was a tournament called the Golden Belt. It was basically the novice tournament under 10 fights as a schoolboy. And he had the semi-finals in there. I even remember who I fought in there. And yeah, it was a good little venue. The next time I fought in there was the ABA finals in 2010. I fought James Allen from the Army. He was the current ABA champion. That was a special night as well. But this fight that I'm going to talk about was the Carlos Ramos fight in the Golden Contract quarterfinals. It was the first fight in the Golden Contract quarterfinals. Bit of a long-winded backstory, yeah, coming your way. Doesn't matter, I don't know where to be, so I'll tell you the whole story, yeah. How about that? Love a good story. So I'm fighting with Georgie Vaughan and Derry Matthews in Liverpool. And I was on the back of a losing streak, a 2-fight losing streak at the time. I fought for the world title and I fought for the British title, and I lost them both back to back. Two fights back to back as a pro. It's heartbreaking because people start looking at you, similar to looking at you now, like you're on the decline. And you know you're not, because you're performing in the gym, but in boxing you don't get the chance to always show what's going on in the gym. You only get the chance to show what's going on the night in the venue. So that's where we was, and nothing was happening. I was getting let down by a few promoters at the time. We were getting let down. Promoters, they did let me down, but I can tell that they didn't want to let me down, but they just did. Things didn't materialise, and nothing was happening at home, unfortunately. And I was in the gym every day working hard, like I am now, like I always have been, but nothing was happening. And you can be in the gym every single day of your life, but unless you're doing it on the television where people can see it, then it's pretty much pointless at the end of the day, isn't it? Because you're just wasting your time. That's how I see it. So a few years before, I've been to America, to Miami, and I went over there to train with Jorge Rubio, who was a Cuban boxing coach based in Miami. Jorge Rubio was different, similar to my old amateur coach Kevin Smith, and thought he's got the same style as Kevin Smith. The Cuban fundamentals. I'll go and have a look there. So I went over there, and I went and had a look there. Whilst I was there, someone put me in touch with a coach called Chiro Perez in the Miami 5th Street gym. So I went down and seen Chiro Perez also, and I clicked with Chiro. Chiro was like, not only was he a brilliant coach, good technical fundamentals, footwork, basics, South American style, similar but different. The same footwork but in a more professional style of boxing. He was a professional fighter himself, and yeah, he was really good coach. I enjoyed it down there. Dino Spencer welcomed me down there too. So we had a good little time there in the 50 gym, but I was basically on holiday. I was on the trial, I was looking around for the gym. This was a few years before. What happened is there was a hurricane called Hurricane Irma at the time, and I ended up isolated like everyone else. Locked down, everything just locked down. A bit like the lockdown actually, the COVID lockdown, and I just had to go and isolate like everyone else did for them few days, and I missed like a week of training when I was out there. I was only there for 2 weeks. So anyway, I came back home, nothing was happening at home, and I went back out to Miami, Orlando, because my half fella was going to an annual world convention, Narcotics Anonymous convention, with his mate, which was in Orlando, Florida. And my dad's mate, Tommy Burns, he was going, but he pulled out of the holiday. He couldn't go to the convention. And Tommy said to me, "Jazz, would you like my ticket to go with your half fella?" And I said, "No, what, Tom? Yeah, I'd appreciate that." And Tommy gave me his ticket to go to America. Instead of it go to waste, I took Tommy's ticket and I said, "I'll go to Orlando with my half fella and his mates, And when they go to convention, I go down to Miami and get some training, get some sparring or whatever. I'll go down to 50 gym. So I went down to 50 gym, and one thing led to another, and they asked me to fight there, to sign with them and to be managed by them and fight there. So we came home, said to Georgie and Terry, there's nothing happening here. We've been trying for a long time, nothing's happening. I'm going to go out to America and fight. I went out to America and fought, came home for the Christmas, and when I did, an opportunity came about for me to fight as the away fighter on an MTK show, which was in Liverpool, against an Australian guy for the IBF European title. Worked that one out, I don't even know. And then I took the fight. So it was great to be back home with Georgie and Derry. I missed Georgie and Derry when I was out there. I even missed me, you know, missed my family. Obviously, I missed everything about it, being home and stuff like that. So it was good to be back. Although I'd signed a promotional contract with a guy in Las Vegas, managed out of Florida, trained in Florida with Chiro and Dino. It was nice to be home because nothing was happening at home before it. And I came home, I said to the lads, look lads, there's a good opportunity on my doorstep. I'm going to take this as well, so to speak. So this fight come about for the European title. About a week or two before the fight, I was supposed to fight a fella called Nathaniel May. Nathaniel May was a really good fighter from Australia, and he was ranked in, I think he was ranked in the top 10 with the IBF, in the top 10 rankings at featherweight. I was just new to featherweight, so I took the fight, and I was the away fighter in my own city in Liverpool. I'm the man selling tickets, but I'm the away fighter. This is just how boxing works sometimes. I went with MTK, and just close to the fight, he pulled out of the fight, and he said, we want to keep the show on, because I'm basically the home fighter, top of the bill. So they got someone else in for the top of the bill anyway, a fella called Nasibu Ramadan. And I'd seen Ramadan fight against a Cuban fella from Jorge Rubio's gym, actually, and he fought this Cuban fella and he gave him a really good fight. Nasibu Ramadan was an African from the African continent, and he had a really good fight, 50-50 fight with, what was his name? I think his name was Neslan Machado, his name was, from Cuba. And I thought, he's a good little fighter, him. So, but he was lighter than me, a lot lighter than me. I think he was anyway. He fought Neslan Machado with super bantamweight, and I was now fighting a featherweight. So it was a weight below me anyway. And I never met, and I remember saying to him, that was a good fight, that, you won that fight. And someone said something about Ramadan, and I thought, fucking hell, he must be good if he's fighting and he's doing Ramadan as well. He must be starving hungry. How did he even fight when he's doing Ramadan? And he said, no, his name was Ramadan. I think you fucking mong jazzer. Anyway, I fight against Ramadan, and because he stepped in late notice. But the day before the Ramadan fight, I also signed to fight in 8 weeks time against Nathaniel May for the European title. This fight against Ramadan was a Commonwealth title eliminator. At the time, the champion was Lee Wood. So I had the fight with Ramadan, won that fight, but he had a broken hand at the time. Mad had a broken hand, but he had to take the fight, and needed the fight. Nothing was happening at the time, weren't getting much work. Won the fight. The next fight goes into the Nathaniel May fight 8 weeks later. It's good to get active again. It's good to be home again with Derry and George, working hard, and we're getting momentum because we're fighting. We're getting regular activity, and yeah, then I won Nathaniel May for the European title, which is a good fight. To tell that story another time. Some good stories in the build up to that fight. And then I was in Georgie's house with the belt. We just won the belt. The next, on the Monday after the fight, goes to Georgie's house, and we're talking about the fight. After the fight, blah blah blah. Got the belt there, and gets a call off Sandra Vaughan, who's Georgie's, what do you call it, daughter-in-law? Danny's wife, anyway. Danny's wife, who's Georgie's son, was on the phone to Sandra. Sandra at the time was, I think Sandra was the CEO of MTK, and MTK was putting together a tournament. Georgie said to me, "Have you read about the tournament, what they're going to ask you to take part in?" I said, "No, I haven't spoken to no one, I haven't heard nothing." And Sandra explained to me on the phone the concept of the tournament, what was going to go on, who they were looking on to get in the tournament. And I didn't care who was going in the tournament, you know what I mean? I was confident whoever it was. And I think they said some names like Ryan Walsh at the time. I think they said they were going to look at trying to get Kid Galahad in it at the time. Not too sure if he was asked about it. But they didn't have to be with MTK. It's just that they were looking to get some good names in it. Not everybody was with MTK who went in the tournament, but so most of the people was. So anyway, the tournament materialised, and they said there's going to be a concept. Sander explained to me the concept. It was going to be 8 fighters. There's going to be a quarter-final, a semi-final and a final every 8 weeks. And there's going to be a hat, and you pick the ball out. There's going to be a bag of balls, and you pick a bag of balls. So you're going to pick the balls out the bag. 4 people get to choose the opponent. There's 1 golden ball in the bag. If you get the golden ball, you can choose whoever you want. You can override anyone's decision. Even if you get picked, you just choose whoever you want. If someone else chose that person, you can say, "No, you're not having him, I'm having him." In my opinion, it's a shitbag move, innit? Fucking picking the weakest link. So anyway, the blue ball, you got to choose who you were going to fight. You've got a red ball, you got chosen. You've got the golden ball, you choose over the blue ball. So we all go, and it's going to be in London, York Hall. The tournament, the whole tournament's going to be staged in York Hall every 8 weeks. It's going to be live on Sky Sports. I think it was ESPN and Sky Sports. So it was a big tournament. Stylistically, heading into the tournament, sparring was a little bit odd because you have to just spar for all styles. It suited me going in there because I can box many ways, so I didn't mind it. I liked it, and I thought, if you put me in the room with other people, I'm going to come out on top. And I knew this was my tournament, I was going to win. I was very confident in winning it. And going into the tournament, they had 2 favourites who was on the front of the poster, and I was in the background on the poster, which I didn't like, really didn't like. It was Ryan Walsh and Lee Wood. Them 2 was the favourites to win this tournament. There was Ryan Walsh, who was British champion, Lee Wood, who was European and Commonwealth champion, a fella called Carlos Ramos, who was EU European champion. There was Tyrone McCulloch. Did he have a title, Tyrone? I'm not too sure. He did win the European WBO European. I think he won as a professional. I'm not too sure if he had it at the time going into the tournament. A Dominican called Socaras. I sparred with Socaras when I was in Miami only months before. Here on Socaras, he was a good fighter, Dominican. I'm sure he went to the Olympic Games, and he was trained by Jorge Rubio. George Rubio. So, who else was in the tournament? I think there was 2 more fighters in there. Who else was in the tournament? Davey Oliver Joyce. Davey Oliver Joyce was a good fighter. I think Davey Oliver went to the Olympics, and he was trained by Peter Taylor going into the tournament. Tyrone McCulloch was trained by Danny Vaughan, and we knew Danny. It was like going into the tournament, Georgie and Danny were going to face off against each other at some point if we both won. Peter Taylor was in there with Tyrone, and he had the 2 Tyrone. There was another weight in there. Tyrone McKenna was also in there too. Tyrone was in there, and Peter, who's now my coach, he was also in there. Who else was in the tournament? There was a Mexican. When this Mexican turns up, it was like, what weight's that cunt there? Fucking hell, is he going to make the weight? And if he is, it's not too bad, because he's not going to make the weight. He's going to be dead at the weight. That's how I think. I thought he was too big for the weight. Turns out the poor bastard nearly died, killed himself to make the weight. He went to the hospital and everything. I felt a bit sorry for him, but I knew he was there for the opportunity. I could tell he didn't have much, and he was there for the opportunity, and it just didn't happen for him. If he had a bit of activity going into it, and he could have got the weight down a little bit more or something like that, or he had more preparation, but he went for it and he didn't make the weight. He got a replacement in. Tyrone McCulloch fought the replacement. So going into the tournament, I'm not happy because everyone's saying Lee Wood or Ryan Walsh is going to win it, and I know I'll beat them both. One of them was Commonwealth champion, one of them was British champion. And fuck all. Oh yeah, I've got the European IBF, and not many people class it as a genuine title, do they? So I'm being dismissed, and I didn't like it. I weren't happy about it, to be honest. So what happened is we had the weigh-in, and Ryan Walsh and Lee Wood, they're both threatening. They had a bit of rivalry going on. I don't know what it was, or I don't know where it stemmed from, and they're saying if whoever gets the ball, the red ball or the golden ball, they're going to pick each other. And I thought to myself, I was watching a lot of SAS stuff at the time, and I got the concept of the grey man. The grey man was explained to me about just keeping your head down. And when I was in school, the grey man was the last thing I was. I used to go into a new year, and I was a little fucker. And I used to go into each new year and say, right, I'm going to be the... I didn't know what it was at the time. I didn't know the words grey man, but I used to say to myself, I'm going to be the grey man. I'm going to keep my head down this year. I'm going to go under the radar. The new teacher's not going to know who I am, and I'll get away with murder that way. Because I was just like a naughty kid. So every year I had intentions to be the grey man, but I never had the discipline to be the grey man. So I always ended up getting sent home after 3 days. So anyway, I said this time, if they're going to treat me, well, they're not going to treat me like fuck all. They have the favourites, and I understand why. But I was angry about it, and I thought, if I'm not going to get the props that I deserve, I'll be the grey man. But when it gets there, Carlos Ramos is bowling around the place like he's an eye case, and he's like sort of snarling at everyone, stuff like that, and I'm thinking, who are you snarling at there? Like, this is my party, and you're coming in here doing this. But I thought to myself, I see what he's doing. He's fearful because he's insecure, and I see myself in him. He was insecure, and he was immature, and I could tell he was inexperienced. I could tell why he was inexperienced, because when we went to the press conference, everyone's saying it's done, and he's hitting the bags with a sweatsuit on in the press conference. He's turning up at a sweatsuit. My hotel was on just the street off York Hall, Bethnal Green. The hotel was in Bethnal Green, and my window faced the road, and you could just see he was outside. I don't know what, one floor up, and he was up and down the street. I think he'd trained like 3 times in the same day in a sweatsuit, and he was running outside in a sweatsuit, and it was cold. He was from Spain, and he weren't doing himself no favours. You might as well just hit yourself at one. If you got weight to lose, just lose it once. Don't be going out 3 times to lose the weight, or what, or losing the weight and coming back in eating, then using more energy going out losing weight, and then coming back in with the sweatsuit and all that. Just get the weight off once, or stop eating or something. I don't know, but I just seen inexperience there, so I thought. And he's walking around thinking he's an eye case, and I thought, I'll have you. I'll have you, you little fucker. And it was quite, it weren't the nicest. I'm not proud to say this, but I just sort of went into me into my ways, which I used to be quite. I used to be a little fuckhead anyway, and I just, it weren't nice anyway what I was doing, because I was playing with his emotions, and I shouldn't have. But in the name of boxing and sport and war, I allowed it to happen. Not normal, the everyday life, I wouldn't act like this, but it was kidology, psychology, you know what I mean? The psychology of sport, and I played with his emotions. I would 1 minute be dead nasty to him, and then the next minute I'd be dead nice to him, and he didn't know where he was going. He was up and he was down, and I knew how immature he was, and he didn't understand what was going on. I could tell by the end of it he was deflated, because he just didn't know. Every time he was going to see me, he just didn't know what person he was going to get with him, man. In the end, I think he just wanted to be over. At this time, I've still got a broken hand from the last fight. At this point, I learned how to box and throw combinations and not throw the hand, one hand. It was good the way we worked on it in the gym. We blagged it really. We blagged it a lot. We were using good feints, and we was throwing combinations. Didn't have to throw every shot hard. Tap, 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 and then finish on a hard shot. You can't really tell what one was the sore hand if you didn't know it was sore at all. So the draw comes, I pick a blue ball. I think I'm having you to Ramos. and he was very insecure. and I thought, you're not intimidating me with your bullshit. You know what I mean? I've tried it all at the age of 16. We're grown men now, it doesn't work. Grown men don't really... You can act mad all you want, but it doesn't really work on grown men. Professionals anyway. And he had to pick Ramos, and he weren't happy about it. He was very tense, and I thought, I'm going to build him up tense with his tension, and then I'm going to deflate him by acting really nice to him tomorrow. At the press conference, I'll be dead nasty again. I'll push and shove, and then at the weigh-in, I'll deflate him by being nice. Weigh-in went well. IBF weigh-in, £10 weigh-in the next day. Weigh-in went well, great. Weighed in spot on, £10 the next day. All good. That night goes to the venue. Boxes nice. Just keeps the boxing smart. Like I said, I had one broken hand, so getting into the fight with him probably weren't the best idea, as he was looking for one big shot. So I just kept his rhythm unsteady and picked him off with single shots. So after the fight, went and got a shower, done a few interviews, went out to watch the next fight, done a little bit of comms for Sky, and then sat there ringside. I'm sitting with my half fella, and Lee Wood's having a great fight with Davey Oliver-Joyce. Davey Oliver-Joyce is up on points, like most people are with Lee Woods, and Lee Woods kept dropping him. Every time Davey Oliver got some momentum, Lee Wood was dropping him. Just as Lee Wood does, that's how he fights, isn't he? He's brilliant at it. Coming back, he's fantastic at coming back. And Davey Oliver gets back up and starts winning the fight again, gets put down again. Starts winning the fight again, gets put down again, gets stopped. And I'm fuming because I'm watching this fight. Something similar to what happened to me years before. I'm in the same situation as I was just a few years earlier. And I'm in ABA's quarter-final fighting in Liverpool. I think I boxed Ryan Moore in the quarter-finals of the area Liverpool areas, is it? Quarter-finals in Liverpool area championships in the ABAs, senior ABAs. I only had two. This is my third senior fight. Kevin Satchel's just boxed. Could have been Dean Swanson. I'm sure it was Dean Swanee. Swanee was a good fighter from Kirby. And Satchel's coming out on top. I'm sure Satchel stopped him in the end. But my mate turned around to me and said, "You're fighting him next." And I said, "Fuck off. He's not going to do that to me." But I was insulted by my mate's fear of seeing how destructive Kev could be, you know. And Kev had this like bit of spite in him, and Kev loved being an horrible bastard, you know what I mean? And I said, "Fuck off, that's not going to happen to me." And the same thing happened with Lee Woods. My fella said, "Oh, that was good." And what I got from it was, "Ooh," you know what I mean? "Ooh, you're fighting him next." And it made me angry and thought, "Fuck off, he's not going to do that to me." And you'll see. So from the Davey Oliver fight there, I think, well, no, they didn't even put him the favourite after that, because Hiran Socaras, the Dominican fighter who I sparred in Miami, had just fought against Ryan Walsh. And Ryan Walsh stopped him. But I had a good story about Socaras, because when I was in Miami sparring, I went out to spar with Chiro. And I went in the gym and he had a pair of 14-ounce gloves. When I sparring 14-ounce gloves, I'd rather sparring 14-ounce gloves. Got a lot of padding in. Not knuckleless. You can get a pair of 16-ounce gloves, but they've got no knuckles in. It's a bit of a dirty trick when you're sparring. I'd rather spar a pair of 14s, so they're smaller and compact on my hand, but they've got a bigger knuckle on them. And they weren't happy because they said 14 on them. And I said, there's a lot in the knuckle, you know, you don't have to worry about that. I wouldn't be that type of guy. And then they said, no, we're not sparring unless you get a pair of 16s. So, okay. And Chiro said, I've got a pair of 16s in the car if you want them. And Chiro brought a pair of 16s in, and they had fuck all in them. He said 16 on them, but they were more like 12 ounces. I said, are you sure? Because it's your head. He said, yeah, we want a 16. So with all the 16s, I ended up sparring a pair of, I forgot my boots and everything. Sparring a pair of flip-flops and a pair of flip-flops and a pair of 16 ounces with no knuckle. And I ended up putting them over. And I was shouldn't talk about sparring stories, but it's an old story. Don't think he's fighting anymore anyway, he's retired. And I thought to myself, that was your coach's fault. That probably wouldn't even felt me knuckles there if it was in them gloves that I had on. And then he was coming over. He knew who I was, I knew who he was, but he had this air of mystic about him. And he was an Olympian, and I think he was unbeaten in America. Miami lad coming over, and everyone thought he must have been good. And I knew who he was, and he knew who I was, but Ryan Walsh didn't know who he was. So it was a big win for Ryan Walsh. And I'm sure he might have won a few of the rounds, and it was even going into like the 8th or something like that. And Ryan Walsh came on strong and lit the place up. And it was a great win for Ryan Walsh. I didn't give him the credit for it because I feel like I'd already stopped this fella myself sparring, you know what I mean, in better fashion than he did it. And then Lee Woods had a great win against Davey Oliver-Joyce, because Davey Oliver-Joyce was a really, really good fighter. Davey Oliver-Joyce was lighter. He was moving up a weight, you know what I mean? So we had a weight advantage on Davey Oliver-Joyce. He'd have been a little bit better. And I always thought going into the tournament, Davey Oliver was going to be the toughest fight for me. That was from my point of view anyway, you know what I mean? Everyone has their own point of view. I'd love to hear everyone's stories going into it. We all had to contend with each other for a good few months, going through it all. We all being compared to each other, so there was a lot of pressure. The venue was mostly a Ryan Walsh crowd. It was brilliant little venue. Ryan Walsh, he's well travelled. The Walsh family are well travelled, and they always bring, they call it the Family Army, don't they? They always bring a good crowd with them. And I think your hall become the Walsh's home, if that makes sense. Although they weren't from London, that became their home. So it was a great venue. I had a good rapport with the Walsh brothers in and around the venue and stuff like that. Liam's very quiet, but Michael reminds me a lot of my cousin Michael, and they're both round the bend, and I like that about him. He's just a bit edgy, isn't he? And I had a lot of respect for the Walsh family. They're good lads, and probably I would say, I don't know who's my favourite out of them all actually, because they're all good lads, but yeah, Michael, I like that about Michael, the way he's a bit man. He reminds me of my cousin who had a great relationship with growing up, and Mook. So yeah, he reminds me of my cousin, so I really like Michael. We had like, we kept it honest really. We weren't like blagging each other, trying to get a psychological edge, trying to like kid each other or nothing like that. We just kept it honest. I was there for my family to create a better life and to get my shot at the world title. He was there for his family to do the same. He had a girl and kids. I was the same. And even my girl and his girl created a little bit of a relationship there while we were there. You know what I mean? We seen each other in each other. And it would have been a shame for us both to fight each other and for one of us to lose. And that's how I seen it. It was going to be a shame when we do fight. If he gets through and I get through and we do meet. I'd like it to be in the final. And we actually spoke about that, me and Michael. And that's how it turned out. But yeah, it was a shame that one of us had to lose. So we get the win. Good little night, brilliant little night actually. Everyone was happy going home. The next morning, me and my girl, we had our breakfast on the way home. My half left that night. He had somewhere to be next morning. On the next day, me and my girl drove home. My mum and the kids, and we're driving home, halfway home now, and you go, oh, the penny dropped. I had $4,500 in a bag in that room, and it was ticket money. It was ticket money that I didn't give in. And he said, well, you just keep hold of the ticket money and we'll deduct it from your wages. And it was $4,500 in the bag, and I knew it was where I left it. Exactly. I know when you know, it was there. You don't have to tell me where it was, or you don't have to tell me you made a mistake. I knew where it was. And I knew there was also a bag of sweets what got left there too. I knew this. I'll never forget where I leave my sweets. Actually, you can forget where you leave your money, but I'll never forget where I left my sweets. And at this point, I can imagine I'm not asked about the sweets, but there's $4,500 in that room, and I know where he is. So we phones up the hotel, gets the number, phones the hotel. Can't get in touch with them. Okay, we'll phone you back later. We'll have a word with the cleaner, and we'll let you know. The cleaner phones back and says there was no money in the room, and now my family is saying to me, are you sure about this? Because they're not going to lie to you. I'm saying, I'm telling you now, there was money in that bag. I left it in this such a place so I wouldn't forget it, and that's I probably hit it too good. So anyway, the next day, phones up, nothing. The next day, phones up because I'm adamant. I know there's money there. So I'm thinking, we've got a fight in 10 weeks. It's the perfect time to go away for a week. I'm going to take my family away. And I'm thinking, that money is the money that we're going to go away with. I'm not putting another penny towards a family holiday when I know that money there, someone's got it and I'm getting it back. So it turns out anyway, I think the hotel boss, he threatened the woman or something like that, as if like he knew she had it, because I was so adamant that it was there or something like that. And we were all going back to that hotel anyway in the next round, and I think he just thought, it's not worth it, I'm going to put a bit of pressure on this woman. And it turns out she found the money anyway. Oh, the money was in a bag of sweets, and I threw a bag of sweets in the bin. Look, you don't throw my sweets in the bin, love, I'm telling you now. Never mind that money. So anyway, the money was actually there, and it turns out I went round the bend and my family was like, oh, you were right. I said, I fucking know I was right. So anyway, I drove up to get the money. Drove from Liverpool to London, 4.5 hours with me mate. Me and Paddy drove up there to get the money. Turns up at the hotel, he said, oh, I've given it to your manager. I've given it to Lee, you know, fucking, yeah, it was gone. Then Paddy saying, fucking hell, we just drove all the way down here for nothing. But it was a good little day out anyway. Me and Paddy had some bonding time together. And then after that, we went home, we went on a little holiday, and we got ready for the semi-final of the Golden Contract. And the semi-final, who was left in the tournament now, was Tyrone McCulloch, Ryan Walsh, Lee Woods, and myself. And if I'm being totally honest, due to it being a Golden Ball concept, I thought everyone was going to pick Tyrone McCulloch. It turns out, well, I'll tell you in the next video. We're going on to the semi-final of Golden Contract Tournament. I would love to see another concept of this, and I'd love to be in it myself. A lot of good fighters out there now, and you look around who you could have in there. You could have a super featherweight, you could have myself, Lee Wood, Josh Warrington, Michael Conlon, Jordan Gill, Zelfa Barrett. Some good fighters, some good names in Britain, and a tournament like that would be amazing at this time. So I'd love to see another one of them tournaments. But yeah, thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll go on to the semi-finals of this tournament, this fight, in the next video. So yeah, thank you for watching anyway. Have a lovely day, and make sure you like and subscribe. It's free, you know. It's free. You don't have to blag me and say, oh, I'll do it later and then not do it. Go on, do it now. I'm watching. Do it now. Subscribe and it'll help my channel grow. It's free. Just press subscribe. And if you don't subscribe, you can watch the next video if you want, because it's free, like I said. You have a lovely day, family. But if you just press subscribe there, it'd be fantastic for me, yeah. Boss.